classmate, Vance Montgomery. Before we get going, I want to say thank you to a few people. Since I'm the one at the podium and not you, you're going to have to listen to me. I'd like to thank my folks, my mom and my dad, for putting up with me. Guys, hopefully after July I'll move out of your basement. Well, maybe we'll wait until the fall, I won't rush anything. But seriously, Mom, my dirty clothes hamper is full, so. I'd also like to thank my fellow classmates for choosing me to give this speech. I know it was a hard choice, and there were a lot of other great, probably more qualified people to be doing this. Barrett Frederick, moot court champion of the realm. Brandon Boykin, vice president of the SBA, and the best number 2 guy around. Phoebe Dossett. Well, you were on the list, weren't you, Phoebe? Not really sure what you did up at the school, but you were on the list. Brian Burns, our token Occupy Wall Street activist. Unfortunately, Brian, I think your aggressive socialist rhetoric would have scared the kids today. Mary Catherine Smith. Mary Catherine, SEC cheerleader, valedictorian-elect, and destined to stonewall and delay her way to greatness up at Baker Donaldson. Everybody likes to root for a long shot. Maybe one of the Sewanee frat guys could have spoken. One of y'all could have gotten up here and showed everyone how to properly funnel a beer. Hangar at y'all's place later tonight, right? Cool. Walter Preston battled the 4th. Walter Preston battled the 4th. President of all the clubs. He really made the law school great again. He built that new wall out back of the law school. And guess who he made pay for it? Arkansas. He uses all the best words, and his Facebook following is huge. Today would have been a one-man show if it were up to him. But thank God it wasn't. All great folks, and probably safer choices, but you're stuck with me. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to Eric Bana for being here today. Where are you, Eric? In the back? There you are. Many of y'all might know him from his work in The Hulk, or Troy, or The Time Traveler's Wife. He's a great guy, and he's been like a father to me, so a special thank to the out today. I know that there were some concerns about my speech, and I want to assure you that you will not hear any language that is not common at, say, a dock workers union meeting, or a Tourette's convention, or a profanity seminar. Rest assured. But today's about these young men and these young women sitting down here. You've all got your family and friends, and they're all so proud of you. And they should be. But what's next? The real world. Many of us have been putting off the real world for a long time. I've managed to float around academia for over a quarter of a century now. Was that a good idea? Well, it was at the time. But now we're up to our noses in student loan debt, and there's not a job in sight. I actually recently threw my resume into the Grizzlies head coaching position. I know many of you have probably heard reports that Patrick Ewing is interested in the job, but I've been in some serious negotiations with the with the folks up there. I can't get to the details, but let's just say the triangle offense might be in the Bluff City next year. That's neither here nor there. It's graduation. It's all about today. What we do next, whether we make good on our debts or flee to Italy. It's just static, white noise. We've been through a lot. I remember those first few weeks of law school like it was yesterday. I remember walking into Professor Allen's classroom on that very first day, and she immediately started cold calling people without looking at a roster right out of the gate. Professor Allen, I've got a confession to make. Your class scared the absolute hell out of me. And Professor Bach, your class reminded me of some prisoner of war camp. The film Deer Hunter specifically comes to mind. Every single day you'd walk into that room, and the first thing you'd do is take out those death cards of yours. See, he had this deck of cards, and on each card there was a picture of our faces on it. And he'd walk in and he'd shuffle those cards right next to the microphone to make sure we were all watching. Then he'd draw a card. Mr. Montgomery, can you tell the class about the court's reasoning in Worldwide Volkswagen? No, sir, I can't. And Professor Shapiro, your classes were always to the point, no fluff. That's what I liked about you. But seriously, I want to congratulate you on your retirement. Seriously. You've been a great influence on so many board students over the years. Professor Mameluke, Boris the Blade in some circles. Congrats on the baby. You'd always butter us up after you called on us, act like you were our friend. Mr. Maldonado, so your card says you can do a back handspring. That's really cool. I've never done a back handspring. Yes sir, I can. Well, that's really great. Now tell us, what is a chicken? There's a chicken case. And then you cross-examine us into the ground and leave us all feeling hopeless. And Professor Brazier, the archetypal Southern law professor. Your classes were fantastic. When I walked into that classroom, I felt like I was walking to some loony bin, where the crazies had taken over the guards and were now running the place. But that's what life's all about. Crazy is good, normal is boring. I will admit that I took 3 of your classes, and that's probably the same number of answers I got correct on all 3 of those exams. Three years ago, we were all strangers. Now look at us. Some of us are in love. Some of us are engaged to be married. And that's great. Some of us have made a lot of enemies. I'm looking at you, Lee. But the thing is, we all went through this together. And if you look around the room, so many of these people will be your friends for the rest of your life. They'll be the people you work with, people you try cases against. And that's something meaningful. The legal community is tight-knit in Memphis. And it's exciting that we're about to be a part of that community. And that brings me to Memphis. I was born and raised here. And I'll stay here probably for the rest of my life. And that's a real source of pride for me. I love this city, the good and the bad. But it's our city, and we have a responsibility. We have put ourselves in such a unique position. This Juris Doctorate isn't just a path to a paycheck. It's a path to influence. People listen to lawyers. I look around the Cecil C. Humphreys class of 2016, and I see the future leaders of this community. There's no doubt in my mind that we can make and will make an impact on this city. We won't submit to the forces of old and evil, but forge our own paths. And I challenge each and every one of you. I challenge myself to not get caught up in the material rewards that this Juris Doctorate might bring, but to use it to help others, to influence public policy, to fight for what we believe is right. Not 3 blocks from this building, a man was shot and killed for straightening his back up and the backs of his people. He fought for what he knew in his heart to be right. and he died for it. In a sense, I envy that. I want to find some cause that I'd be willing to fight and die for. And I challenge you to do the same. Never back down, even in the face of persecution. Always do what's right, and we can make a change in this city. So to the University of Memphis, Cecil C. Humphreys, School of Law, class of 2016, I commend you for a job well done. And that's it.